Will the dollar explode to 102? Hi, it's Charlie giving you Saturday's video. I hope you're very well. And I've just got a daily chart up here of the dollar index. And so we're going to go through a little bit of analysis today. The dollar has been pulling back over this last few weeks, really. And, relatively gently, but it's been pulling back nevertheless. And on Thursday, we had quite a breakdown actually, and we saw, and it looks small now relative to what's just happened on Friday, but it was quite a big down day there for the dollar index. Yes, it was down into prior sort of high area, and not exactly to where I would have liked it down to this area, but nevertheless, 50-day moving average as well. And it's now obviously pushed up on Friday. It was quite interesting, really, because the dollar against many of the majors wasn't up that much. They retraced by the end of the day reasonably well. If I look at the likes of the New Zealand dollar, for example, you'll get an idea. There you go. So you get an idea. It wasn't actually that big a day to the downside. It had been reasonable, but really, you look at this overall and you'd say this is still consolidating here, potentially for still a break higher against the US dollar. So what was going on with the dollar index yesterday and the dollar itself? Well, as you know, the dollar index is around about 60% of the dollar index is the euro. So where we're seeing that move was in the euro. So it comes up on a Saturday sometimes, double prints the bar until Monday now. So anyway, so this was the big down day that we had in the euro dollar yesterday. So that's what it was all about, and that's what the dollar's about a lot of the time, because 60% of the basket of currencies against the dollar is in euros. So we have seen this big up move. Could it be that we've got a much bigger move ahead, or could it be entirely the opposite? Because if we come out to the bigger time frame, and there's a big move coming in the dollar. So if I'm actually going to take us out to a quarterly chart here. So why do I believe there's a big move coming in the dollar? And it's really because of this pattern. So if we look at, we've got the double top from up here. So the potential, like some people are arguing, and I've been looking at this earlier this year as well, for this double top to continue to sell off. So there's an argument for the dollar to continue to sell off, and whatever's been going on, bearing in mind each one of these candles is a quarterly 3-month candle, that this might still just be, generally speaking, a bit of a retracement from this prior down move, and that actually the dollar's going to roll over, and if it comes down to these two lows, it might break those and we might have a substantial move. What would that mean for the euro dollar? You'd be looking at pushing 130 in the euro dollar, if we came back over and we started to break these lows here. That would be about 125 on the euro dollar, and if we started to break lower, then we'd soon be into the 130s. However, as it currently stands, these two lows here held as well. So we held here on the dollar index. We didn't even break to a new low there, but anyway, we've held so far. I've got long-term support line, as you can see. This goes further back off the chart, which is nice, where these two lows have held. I've also got this another support line here, which marries up. If I just turn the pen off and change this to maybe a monthly chart, you might see the levels. So you can see these levels here. We cut through this price action here. We've got this high here. This is all on the monthlies. So you can see that we've broken. I don't know if it actually corresponds much back here. I haven't quite got it on correctly, but we've broken some old levels back there as well. And we've broken through in recent times. So if I take this to a weekly chart, you'll be able to see how we've broken through. Just in the last month or so, really, we've broken above this upper horizontal, what was resistance there. So coming out to the quarterly chart again, so the scope is there for a run to 102, back up towards these highs. Not necessarily the exact highs, but now we've got above this line. So I think that the line in the sand right now, And there's all sorts of factors at play. There's FOMC next Wednesday evening, so the Federal Reserve will be having their meeting and therefore announcement on their monetary policy, etc. And so who knows, after this big update that we've just had on Friday, maybe it gets completely reversed by next week if we still have a relatively dovish Fed, even though they're about to start tapering, but they can still have dovish language. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But as it stands, the dollar index is trading above this what was this breakout area, and in fact, if I take you to the daily chart, it was quite a nice cup and a handle before. Look, there we go. There's the cup and there's the handle, and then it finally broke out. So this is the line in the sand here. So if the dollar index breaks back down below there, then we could be off to or certainly I say off to the races, but certainly it proves a certain amount of weakness, and we could be seeing more downside here. In which case, we could be seeing euro-dollar. We would be seeing euro-dollar heading towards 118, 119 relatively quickly. But for now, we're not below that level. So we've had quite a strong or a very strong candle here, price action on Friday. It was month end, so we have to take that into consideration. It was the end of the month. But let's see if this is going to hold. And if we can hold above here, then I'm going to be looking for a longer term, in the longer term, to see the US dollar rise to above 100 and ultimately get up into this zone up here. Now that could take quite some time. Now these are quarterly candles here. You can get an idea, although we've had lower volatility in recent months, it's just taken 6 months just to poodle along a little bit. Now if volatility picked up, then you could see that we could quite easily do that distance in the space of, sorry, not 6 months, but this was 3 candles, so that's 9 months. So it could happen, it could do it in 9 months if there was enough volatility. One other factor I think is interesting is if I look at the euro-dollar positioning amongst the hedge funds, then I've just brought a long-term chart up. They've only just in recent weeks gone net negative as far as their positioning. So they've only just gone overall net euro-dollar short, okay, or euro short. So so there's no extreme here at the moment as far as the hedge funds are concerned. And if you look back over throughout history, you can see that we're not at any extreme as far as short positions are concerned. In 2019 and 20, there was no extreme there particularly, but certainly they bottomed there. And the last time that they were at historical lows was back here in 2015. So the potential is still there for an increase in the number of euro-dollar shorts, i.e. Long positions in the dollar itself. So just thought I'd raise that with you as well. So there is an argument for the dollar itself to continue going higher. We've got a Eurozone, ECB, which have pushed back this week to the as far as their monetary policy is concerned, and they are maintaining their stance that the inflation that we're seeing is going to be transitory, and so they've pushed back against the market expectations that they're going to have to start to look at their forward guidance with regards to interest rate policy, but they haven't. What was quite funny on Thursday when that happened on the ECB meeting was that the euro actually still rallied on that day, and I'd normally take that as a bullish sign, but then it got completely reversed the following day. So, but now we've got the Federal Reserve going into next week, so all eyes are going to be on that Fed next Wednesday, and what sort of language that Jerome Powell uses then. So watch out for that. But for the meantime, technically, we're above that breakout zone still here at the moment. It's got to work its way through that 50 on the monthly chart here if it can do that. But for now, the dollar is bid until proven otherwise. Probably what will happen now, I've put this video out, probably on Monday or Tuesday it'll completely reverse over. But at least you've got the technicals for on the bigger picture here, that if it does roll over and breaks back down and closes back down below this line, which is around about 93 or so, let's take it to a weekly chart so you can see it. But if we break down back below here, then we've got scope to come back into this whole range down here. So that would see not only the euro dollar obviously rallying, that would go, if I go back to the likes of the New Zealand dollar and put that back to a daily chart, then it would see the Kiwi dollar breaking out here, and potentially if I go to the monthly chart for the Kiwi dollar, it would see the New Zealand dollar starting to attack these highs here on the monthlies from earlier in 2021. So there's plenty of scope here, and this is what I'm saying with the dollar. It's a fascinating market right now because of the big picture pattern here on the US dollar, that it's well worth your while spending a little bit of time doing some research on it, because one way or t'other this dollar is either going to have a pretty big rally coming up over the next 6 to 12 months, or a pretty decent decline. That's my wager. That sounds ridiculous to say that, but because of course the markets can only go one or two ways, I guess. Well, they could chop as well, but the pattern suggests, the patterns that I'm following suggest that one way or another there should be some substantial moves. Take care for now. Enjoy the rest of your weekends. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video as always, and do subscribe to the channel. It always means you get notifications when our videos are released. Take care for now. See you next week.